Welcome back, everyone. You're still on Ladies Lounge TV show. And before the break, a new topic was introduced, which we're going to talk about now. You may or may not have seen the video that went viral about a boy destroying his mom's kitchen, throwing her priciest pepper and crayfish all over the place. And, you know, that video went viral. So we're asking today, in particular for African households, where do we draw the line between discipline and abuse? Before we dive into it, there's a video we should watch. So see this video and we'll be right back.
What happened?
What happened? I just did, because since they ignore me, they go, they come back. You understand? So this Sunday, you just come. When passport, by the way, you just come. And they eat in the afternoon. As usual, I call and say, come up to do mass. You don't come, I leave them. I finish our prayer. The mass one they do. So he can't come. He need my P21. He need my passport. He just lists some few things. I know it will talk, I know it will answer. You understand? If Papa said, make me and I no go to school, I need to make I tell her, make it call. I want to say, call your dad. He can't say if I don't give him must. I can't go to the room because I know what that door where they keep my things. Go upstairs, go see how he's scatter my things. He can't carry the bag where they put documents. They look for that. I say, why would you take my stuff without asking me? He said, why are they ignorant since? Are they ignorant since?
You know I love you. I love you. I know that. I've been saying this for so long. You know I love you. You know that, right?
No. What have you been saying for so long? I just ask. He said nobody. He first carry the food and the meat like you pour for ground. He just begin to who will the toilet all those rubbish?
Okay, welcome back. There you have it. Real chaos. We only know the story we were told. But let's discuss it, ladies. What do you think, Stephanie? What did you make of that video?
I think there's a thin line really between abuse and discipline. And I think all I could hear was mother's voice at the background. And if my son is at that stage, I think, you know, I can't tell her how to raise her child, but I would have handled the matter differently. I didn't like the voice I was hearing from her, you know, at the background judging what the son was doing. It was really heartbreaking because a child of that age shouldn't really be doing that. So from the boy's side, I feel like he sounded like he was spoiled because growing up in Nigeria, I can't even, you can't even think about something like that. Before you think about it, you know, other thoughts are coming to your head, like, because you have that respect and you have that fear.
Let me jump in there and say, because you say it looked like the boy was spoiled, but there's also, you know, the frustration you can see in the boy and reading his own response to the whole thing. There's the frustration from his own explanation. That's why we're asking the question, the thin line between abuse and discipline. They've tried to discipline him at even times that were not necessary. Because you know, with discipline, sometimes it's not actually necessary to actually carry out that discipline on a child.
Yeah.
But the Africanness in us just, you know, keep on going.
There's one thing I saw in his post, which said the mother put pepper in his eye. But how can you do that to a child? So in a way, I see what he was trying to do, but I don't think any mother should push their child to that place where they have to do that. I think we have to be very careful. I don't think it's right for a mom to be putting his hand on his child, to be putting pepper in his child. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's the right way to approach it. There are other ways you can see for your children. And I think for me, I've learned as well. When my son was growing up, you know, I had the approach. My approach is different now. Now I sort of sit behind, okay, Sean, let's talk about it. Or my daughter, let's talk about it. And I realize it's actually better when you actually sit down and understand where they're coming from. Do you understand? Instead of just like taking shoe. Because taking shoe out. That's the lazy approach. That's lazy parenting. That's lazy parenting.
Like that kid, you can tell he's a first generation and the parents immigrated here. So as of many of us as well, our parents come here and they bring their own ways of doing things just like Stephanie said, in Africa, it might work, you know, to discipline a child that way, because the issues that a child gets to deal with, for example, in Africa, trust me, are completely different from the issues that a child deals with here. And the issues that a parent deals with in Africa are completely different. And one major thing that we should look at is the fact that I am a parent here as well, and I have my children here. So this is a very relatable topic when it comes to discipline that we're talking about. One thing I realized for me is the support, for example, that our parents have in Africa. We don't have a teeny bit of that level of support. So therefore, the pressures that we deal with, they're so high. You've got to go to work, you know, you deal with those pressures, you have to provide, you've got to meet the child's or the children's needs, you know, and if you're married as well, your husband have their own pressure, you have to deal with that. You look at statistics. About 89% of children that are being excluded from school, actually Black children, okay, come from Black families, ethnic minorities, particularly Black children. Now that's a really high number. And one of the major things that's been highlighted as a reason why they're being excluded, they always say that the children, they don't follow the instructions. I think it's bigger than that, you know. I think it's children that have been brought up a certain way at home and now having to go, particularly when they go to secondary school, is when these things come out, and having to go to secondary school and face a completely different world. And they come in and they realize, oh, when Dave says something, he doesn't get the same reaction that I get, you know. They seem to communicate better. Because when we tell our children, shut up, don't say this, sit out there, this restricts them. As much as we do, we take away so much from them. We take away so much. And that becomes apparent, you know, when they go out there and mix around with other kids and realize that they can't communicate as effective as the other kids. They get frustrated, they misbehave. I know it's not as simple as that, but there's a correlation there. Yeah. So when we go back to that video, okay, I think it's that typical narrative of this child having his own pressures to deal with. The parent don't necessarily understand it. I don't think we ever really take the time. Most parents don't take the time to try and understand that the children also have pressures and that actually they do suffer from depression. You know, there's a high number of particularly Black children that suffer from depression. You, the parents as well, you're probably not even aware that you're also suffering from this depression. So you're irritated. The smallest thing that the child does, it really gets to you. And then where do you go to? Straight what you know, because that's how you were disciplined. You want to discipline the child that way, but you can't, you know. You were disciplined that way because you were brought up in a different environment, and maybe that way worked, you know, but this child is in a completely different environment. So you've really got to adopt different ways to do it. And like Stephanie and you said that talking, yeah, I know Africans, we don't like to hear that. You think slapping is the way to talk, but talking helps. You know, I find that with my children, and children are different. There are some children that you may need to raise your voice. There are some children, trust me, like my daughter, she doesn't even like being told off. She does not like it. So I find myself having to really, when I want to communicate her mistakes to her, I have to really watch my tone. I have to watch my tone, what I say, how I say it to her, and trying to say it in the most grandmother language way that she can understand. So it's definitely, there is a fine line, and what we may see as discipline may actually be, I think, you know, could be abused.
There were many parts to the story of this mother and son. The son even mentioned that he was scared that his mom would kill him because she always threw stuff at him, and you know, he even had to block his door at night so that she won't come in to kill him. We know sometimes in Africa, maybe in Nigeria in particular, even in Africa really, when a parent threatens to kill, I'll kill you, this child, you will not kill me, and all that. they actually do not want to kill the child. But
No.
as you've been saying, you know, it's the society we're in. We're not in Africa, so it's a different orientation.
Yes.
What do you think about that, Stephanie? Just in a few minutes.
I think that we are saying that the parents are saying that the parents dominate. But in the child's brain, it might be like the minute. If someone says, I'm going to kill you,
Exactly.
I'm going to kill you. In the child's mind, the mom wants to kill him. And I wonder
that's the difference in society we're talking about, really.
Like, back home, we probably would like, okay, you know, my mom is just talking because that's how she talks. But here, the boy might actually have that genuine fear, and we can't say, you know, that's the fear he has, and it's okay to feel like that. And I just wonder, and one thing I need to say is, the parenting is the most difficult job you can ever have, like, in this country especially. But I wonder how they got to that stage in their relationship, how the mother and son got to that stage, because parenting is difficult, at the same time is rewarding. And I think that we as parents should build that bond with our children, that so they understand what you're saying. So even if you say those words to them, you could call them back and say, this is what I mean. This is not what I'm not really, but do you understand? When we have that communication,
or even when you don't tell them that this is what I meant. Even if you build that bond, that kind of bond that I think is what you're saying, they know that you don't. Right?
Exactly.
They just know that you're just upset.
Mom is just talking. Yeah.
Exactly. But you see, with the mom making those threats, right? She doesn't know any better, because probably that's how she was raised.
Yes.
You know, that's what she was used to, because you will just replay the way until you come to the realization that, this is what I know, but this is not right.
I think the solution for that is for us parents, just decisions to understand that this is an issue. Yeah, that language of I will kill you, I'll put pepper on you, it works in Africa. Do you know why it works? Because everybody says it. So when you say it to the child, that child understands, because they know auntie says it, my friend's mom says it. It's common language, but here it's not common language. So when that child hears it, they're gonna feel shocked, and they may feel like actual real fear of that. So we've got to be watchful of what we say, what we do, and we also have to really sit down and think and make meaningful decision as to what can we do to help us navigate in this difficult work of being parent, navigate better in being parents.
Thank you, Cordelia. So that's it, really. I do hope it's not too late for this particular family. I hope they find ways of reconciling, and you know, the family finds a way of coming back together. We don't have all the answers, and no one can teach you how to be a parent, really. But you know, we should be open to hearing, you know, how things are done where we are, and adjusting to how things are done where we are.